It's time for Around the Ozarks in 5, brought to you by the Butterfly Palace. Have the best day ever at the Butterfly Palace. Springfield Greene County Park Board, reminding you to go play. Roto-Rooter Plumbing and Drain Service. Call Southwest Missouri's best plumber today for a free estimate. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Foreheads.
Hey, good morning to you on Monday, President's Day. Hope you're ready for a great week. Maybe you have the day off. A lot of the kids do. There's Diana Tyndall from Modern Day Marketing. She's still with me this week. Thanks for being with me. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. It was wonderful. We just chilled.
All right.
It was nice.
Good deal. Well, here we go. We're going to start with a little news as we do.
On President's Day.
On President's Day. That's right.
A big day in the Tyndall house. We can talk about that later.
I want to hear about that. I think I know, but I want to hear about it.
All right, here we go.
All right, in the news this morning, Christian County will hold a public meeting next week on a proposed battery storage facility near Ozark. Some neighbors are not happy about the plan by Black Mountain Energy Storage to build the facility at Elk Valley and Old Prospect Roads just south of Ozark. The project would sit on more than 30 acres and house lithium-ion batteries. People have a problem with that. The public meeting about the proposal is on Tuesday of next week at 9:30 in the a.m. My glasses are crooked. I can't get them straight either. Now everybody's going to leave looking. They're just readers. The public meeting about the proposal is on Tuesday of next week, 9:30 in the a.m. at the Christian County Courthouse. So that has potential there to get into something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are they bothered by the batteries? Just that it's batteries?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of them live near there and they weren't notified individually, like by mail or anything. They just kind of heard about it. Okay. So therefore, the feeling among some folks is that they're like trying to ram this in without us having a say. I think that's what it is. We'll see next week. Then there's a bill in the Missouri legislature that would give lifetime protection to victims of abuse. That bill is sponsored by State Senator Mike Moon from Ash Grove. It would allow for lifetime protection orders for victims of serious crimes. Right now, an order of protection is valid for only up to 180 days and has to be renewed that often if the victim asks for renewal. This bill would give a lifetime protection order unless the victim dies, the conviction is dismissed, expunged, or overturned, or if the victim asks for it to be terminated. It's moving through the legislature right now, so not a
bad idea. I have had friends in the past where they've had, awful situations of abusers. So
yeah. Well, that's, 180 days, that's fairly often you're having to do that. Whenever and if it's a real threat, which it is, if you got one to begin with, those don't just go away like that,
Yeah. Or at least extend it to a year. Instead of every 6 months. So
yeah.
Well, yesterday marked 1 week after a shooting at Pastor Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. Yesterday was the church's first service since an attacker began shooting and was killed by off-duty officers. Here in the Ozarks, many churches have been ramping up for security for years to be ready in case that sort of attack happens here. Hopefully not, but many work with outside security firms to receive training on how to defend against shooters. And it's sad that we would have to do that. But
we've seen in the past, there are congregants who a lot of times the church will give the thumbs up to let them carry. And we've seen that work in other churches, small churches, where the congregant is the one who stops the attacker. It's You're right. It's sad to think about.
Well, it could be just terrible, even worse. Yeah. So thank goodness. And 2 juveniles are now charged in the shootings at the Chiefs rally last week. One other person was detained in the shootings, but released by the police. As for victims, all 11 of the children hurt in the attack, 9 of them had been shot. They are all out of the hospital, which is good. 2 adults are still in critical condition. So say some prayers for them. 1 is in serious condition. And as we know, and we talked about this last week, 43-year-old Kansas City radio personality was killed in the shooting. More charges are expected against the attackers.
Yeah, they've got just enough gun charges, gun possession charges, I think, are what they're charged with now. But the bigger stuff is still to come because it takes more homework.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you have the case right. Springfield's airport, this is cool. It's getting $5.4 million from the feds. The FAA is giving that grant to the Springfield airport to replace up to five passenger boarding bridges that are each 30 years old. You don't think about that. Mm-hmm. Those five make up half of the airport's passenger bridges. The new ones, we're told, should be up and running by around July of 2025.
Neat.
And then Drury University is getting a $1.5 million matching donation from the O'Reilly and Wooten families. It's part of the university's Fortify the Future Capital campaign, which has raised $34 million out of the $50 million goal. The matching challenge is intended to mark Drury's 150th anniversary.
Well, that's cool. And the Springfield School District will have two new principals for the 2024-2025 school year. Adam Bax will become the principal of Field Elementary School. He comes to that position after being the principal of Wilder for the last 4 years. Bax was a former teacher at Field, where he will take over as principal. And Brett Engel will be principal of Williams Elementary. He comes from the principal position at Reed Academy. So congrats to them.
Yeah.
And some Springfield students got quite a surprise the other day. New shoes. The United Way of the Ozarks teamed up with the Springfield Central Labor Council to give away nearly 250 pairs of shoes to students at Bowerman Elementary School. How special is that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What a surprise for those kids. And who doesn't love new shoes?
Oh, they're especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kids.
Shoes.
Yeah, they grow out of them so quickly that now the parents don't have to worry about the shoes. The kids have shoes. That's great.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Hudson Hawk now has its own line of styling products.
Ooh.
They are called, that line is called Hitch, Hitch, Hitch. Right now it includes all-day clay and weightless clay and plans to add some other products, including shampoo. Hudson Hawk has barbershops in Springfield, Northwest Arkansas, Kansas City, Tulsa, and Columbia. So it's another Springfield business. It's kind of going everywhere.
That's awesome. I love the smell of like good men's products.
Yeah.
Not for myself, but just I'm so glad I have boys in my life, and I'm like, hey, go put that stuff on your hair again. That's and let me smell it.
Yeah, they were talking about how hard they worked on the scent to get the scent just right, because you're right. To your point, it's important.
Well, an appropriate scent, right? So who knows, like Axe body spray and all that stuff. I'm like, oh no, not
much.
yet. But then like much. Dove is too subtle. So it's like maybe somewhere in the middle.
We'll get some Hitch and see how it smells.
Yeah, I might.
There's a new chicken restaurant, meanwhile, down in Branson. The Side Chick is what it's called. It's located at the Track Family Fun Park on Highway 76. The new eatery comes from the owners of Gettin' Basted Barbecue Restaurant, Downing Street Poorhouse in Hollister, and Mythical Witch Sandwich Shop, which just opened, I think, maybe in December of last year, very recently in downtown Branson. Mythical Witch, as in sand witch.
Witch. Like Witch, when that was here.
Like Witch, right.
Uh-huh. Very neat. Well, a new survey, nearly half of Americans, this is interesting, 45% feel addicted to their smartphones.
Huh.
The average American spends almost 5 hours every day looking at their phone. And so if children get their first phone at about age 12, the average life expectancy in the U.S. is 76 years. That means the average American, this is crazy to me, the average American will spend 12 years staring at their phone screen in their life. Ethan,
we've added one of those stats, because it used to be like you're in your car in traffic, that takes up 2 years of your life or more or whatever, and then it's
sleeping.
Eating takes up sleeping. Yes. It's like I don't have much life left to live.
Well, sleeping is just critical, but when you think about something just non-essential like this, although people might argue with me about that, but I know I get my screen time report, and sometimes it's more than 5 hours. You know, sometimes with teens, it's a ridiculous amount, like 10 hours. I don't know what theirs would say. How much is your screen time? Do you have?
I don't even look. I don't have a report.
Oh, do you have an iPhone?
No, I have an Android.
Oh, you have an Android.
I think it tried to send that to me once or twice, but I don't pay any attention to it.
And you're like, I don't want to see it. I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe after this, I'll look just out of curiosity. But
I'm just
man,
curious.
Oh, man.
I mean, do the girls have phones yet or not? Not really.
The oldest one does. Yeah.
The oldest one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ours don't yet. Actually, it's kind of funny because ours.
Well, how do they spend 10 hours on screen time? You said.
Well, no, that's just what I've heard from other friends of mine that, well, in gaming, I mean, they spend time staring at other screens, which isn't great.
Yeah.
But yeah, our oldest is almost 15, and he is, I'm pretty sure, the only kid in high school that doesn't have a phone, and he doesn't want one. He's like, I don't want to be like everyone else, which is great. I'll just keep milking that for as long as possible because he sets the precedent for the other one.
No, absolutely. That's great. Good for you. Somebody who goes against the grain. I like it. We have an almost 15-year-old, and we ended up getting her. All parents say this, but it was true because she does so many things, so many extracurricular things.
Right.
And we're always going to pick her up and all of that. Sarah felt like it was, and I think both of us did, but she picks her up more than I do. Felt like it was a necessity.
Probably a safety issue.
Well, we do limit the screen time quite a bit. And to her credit, she's really not on it much. So we haven't had to lay down the smack down. What is it called? Or crack down. Lay down the crack. Lay down the crack.
No,
I think
there's no laying down crack. No,
that's not what it is.
That's a drug term. No, crack the whip or smack down.
Smack down.
You can choose
one of those. I did a combination. It didn't work out so well.
Okay.
But we haven't really had to do that, thankfully. But we do have reports on what she's doing and all that because, I can't even imagine. And what I think about is like all of this is an experiment. We're experimenting with this generation of kids who stare at screens constantly. Because you and I, when we were growing up, we didn't stare at screens constantly.
No.
Only the second half of our lives have we been staring at screens, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before that, we were looking at books and papers and things like that at school, certainly. But now these kids are growing up on screens at school. And we've already heard reports from eye doctors talking about the damage that's being done. But we'll just wait till they get to the end of their life and they've stared at a screen
for 12 years.
Straight years.
That's just crazy to me. I mean, I get it. We're probably right around the corner of, our oldest needing a phone because he's wanting to get a job this summer. And I'm like, it ain't going to be my phone that your employer's calling and you're communicating with. But it's just, it's something I know a lot of parents struggle with. And I think just because they get a phone doesn't mean they need social media with it. Doesn't mean they need internet with it. And I think a lot of it's just, it takes work to try to put in those filters and all of that stuff. So
it is. And it's unfamiliar work for a lot of people. It's like you don't know what you're doing in some cases, and you got to try to be on top of it. So it is work. It is work. Well, hey, today's President's Day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And I know it's an exciting day in your household. I mean, maybe Easter, Christmas, President's Day. Is that how it goes?
No, I don't know. President's Days, I don't know. It just became a thing. We started celebrating. Our boys have names after presidents, the good ones at least. And then, but we started this when they were younger, and we would have just like, Santa Claus would come, the Secret Service would come and deliver presents. Yeah, for President's Day. And so if you want to take my tradition, feel free to take it. There's still time this morning. You can set out something presidential if you have something. I don't know. But we've done like the bobbleheads. We've done like the 8x10s framed of the old school black and white presidents.
That's awesome.
The president's like mats that you like eat dinner on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we just made it a thing, and now they're probably just like over it, but we still like to make it.
But you're not.
We'll probably we're
Brian love it. It's a highlight. That's fantastic.
Do. I think we're gonna work on our President's Day puzzle, which was also a gift from the Secret Service. Thank you, Secret Service.
That's a fantastic idea that the Secret Service delivers the gifts. That's
it's just
fantastic.
Fun. It's just something fun.
That's fun. Well, good for you. Creative. I like
well,
it.
And a lot of people are enjoying the day off. So enjoy the day off if you got it. And kids are out of school today. So I don't know what we're going to do.
I know. Well, you're going to celebrate President's Day.
Right. And do a puzzle. Oh, goody.
That's cool. I like that idea. All right. Well, whatever you're doing today, enjoy it. And we will be back bright and early tomorrow. Sarah's getting back. She's in the air as we speak. So she's flying. She's been flying since, I think, 2 hours ago our time. She got on her first plane. And I think it's 42 hours that she'll be traveling. It's not all. She has a long layover, I think, in Qatar because she's coming back from Africa with our boy and with some friends of theirs. So she'll be back. I think she'll be back late tomorrow. So,
so who knows if I'll fill in or she'll fill in? Who knows?
Yeah,
she might need her sleep.
I got a feeling she may not want to get up early Wednesday morning. So you may be with me one more time.
Okay, we'll see.
Times. Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for filling in. And thank you for watching and listening. Have yourself a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Scooters Coffee and Rescue Towing. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Monday. It is February 19th, and it's cold in the Ozarks. In fact, we've got temperatures below freezing, well below freezing in most communities. Lots of frost out there early on this morning. And it's a cold start. It's one of those days, though, where you got to dress in layers. That is going to be key on a day like this, because by this afternoon, you're going to forget all about these mid-20s that we're seeing as of 5 a.m. I have a high temperature in Springfield today of 57 degrees. Plenty of sunshine, a south breeze to go along with it. So all in all, it's going to end up being a pretty nice day in the Ozarks. We just have to get through a few hours of cold this morning. And even by this afternoon, we're going to be talking about some elevated fire risk with grass fires possible today because of the incredibly dry air. It's one of the reasons that it's so chilly out there this morning. We've got high pressure in place, and we see the low temperature and high temperature really fluctuate this time of the year. So very cold start to the day, and by this afternoon, it'll be nice. You can get outdoors, take that afternoon walk later today, and overall, it's going to be a pretty nice week. We have a couple of things to mention here in the forecast, but it's a quiet week ahead most days this week. Sunny with a big warm up. You're going to notice the warm ups in the afternoon, spring fever, and maybe some record highs that we could set by Wednesday of this week. I mentioned the potential for some elevated grass fire danger. I think that's going to be the case later today. We have such low dew points in place. It's one of the reasons that it's so chilly this morning. It's also bringing us the sunshine and really low relative humidity values. The air is dry. You probably notice, your hands are feeling a little bit dry. You might have to be moisturizing a little bit extra on a day like this. And the breeze is not going to be a good combination. So elevated grass fire risk today in the Ozarks. It's something to keep in mind. Not a good choice of a day to do any burning. We have high pressure dominating our weather pattern here in the Midwest, and all the activity is out on the West Coast today. In fact, there's rain all along the coast. We are talking Washington, Oregon, California, all seeing heavy rain. And out in the Mountain West at the higher elevations, there's snowfall coming down, as well as impactful rain out in those western mountain chains. So very active across the West Coast today. If you have any travel planned, or if you have friends or family out that way, that's where all the action is. Here in the Midwest, things are going to be pretty nice. In fact, I have us near 70 degrees by Wednesday, and we could be getting very close to some record high temperatures by then. Chance for thunderstorms is in the forecast as we move into Wednesday night into early Thursday. With all the warmth is going to come some thunderstorm activity. There's always a trade-off for those warm days when we get them in the winter months. Right now, I'm not concerned about severe weather, but just know that there could be some thunderstorms around Wednesday night into Thursday evening, and that round of storms will bring a bit of a cool down as we head to the end of the work week. We'll notice the cooler temperatures by Thursday, but overall, the weekend is looking pretty nice too. It's a brief cool down with the chance for rain arriving late Wednesday night into the overnight hours into Thursday. Really great outdoor time, though, on deck for Tuesday and Wednesday. And the extended forecast looks pretty awesome. Late February through early March, we're talking way above average temperatures are going to build back into much of the Midwest. kind of like what we were seeing in the middle of February with those really warm temps. That ridge of high pressure is building back in, allowing for the above normal temperatures to dominate our part of the country again. So that's looking up. Today, President's Day. Congratulations. If it's a holiday for you, it's going to be a beautiful day. If you have the day off to get outdoors later today, 57 for my high temperature forecast in Springfield, but I think folks in northern Arkansas could hit 60 today on Washington's birthday. By Tuesday, we're talking even warmer weather. I think everybody is in the mid and upper 60s. And by Wednesday, we're getting very close to record high temperatures with potentially mid 70s showing up. I mean, it's going to be, dare I say, warm in the Ozarks by the time we get to Wednesday. And that will come along with a partly sunny sky as well. So Wednesday looks like a really, really warm day in the Ozarks if you're looking for a day to spend some time outdoors and you forgot what the 70s feel like. They're coming later this week. It's going to be pretty nice. Around the country, I mentioned a lot of that activity, impactful rain and mountain snow across the west. There's also additional snowfall that's possible in the forecast this morning for the Northeast and the upper Midwest. Not big time systems, kind of just run-of-the-mill winter weather for them because winter is far from over for the far northern tier of the country. And we're also talking about quiet weather and a warm pattern for the Midwest and the South. And that's exactly what we're going to see here set up in the Ozarks as we head into the second half of the week. As we look at the brain twister question for the day, I will remind you of the question that I left you with last week. Hey, speaking of last week's questions, I want to give a big shout out to our winners from last week, Lori, Bud, Kathy, Bonnie, and Cheryl. 5 winners, all getting a $20 gift card to Scooter's Coffee. Congratulations to you 5. Here's your next chance to win if you entered on Friday. And then I'll leave you with the question for tomorrow. In honor of President's Day, I have a couple of presidential questions for you. What kind of crop did President Jimmy Carter and his family farm in Georgia? And the options that I gave you were A, corn, B, peaches, C, blueberries, or D, peanuts. A lot of you got this one right. I saw some guesses. D, peanuts is the answer, almost synonymous with Jimmy Carter and his campaign. Although I must mention, of course, peaches are a big product of Georgia, as well as corn and blueberries. I actually wasn't aware of the blueberry crop there, but it's pretty common in the state of Georgia. But Jimmy Carter and family are known for the peanut crop, so much so that there's even a Jimmy Carter peanut statue that you can see to this day in Georgia. It is located in Plains, Georgia. It was built in 1976 as a roadside attraction. It depicts a very large peanut with a big smile, and it was built to support Jimmy Carter during the 1976 United States presidential election. It was commissioned by the Indiana Democratic Party, and it has moved locations over the years. I think I read in 2000 or in 2004, it actually switched locations, but it's still there. Believe it or not, though, it is not the largest peanut statue in the world. It is the second largest or second tallest statue of a peanut in the world, with the largest being located just a few miles away in Ashburn, Georgia. So if those are the kind of attractions that you want to see, head to Georgia. Some of you may have seen this. It was initially located in a train station in the Plains, but in 2000, it was damaged in a car wreck. And after the repairs were done, it was moved to Georgia State Route 45. So more folks could see it, stop, take a picture. There is a small fence around it, but you know, it's one of those things where if you're driving through the area, you're like, hey, let's pull over. And we can see a really tall peanut. At one time, apparently, this is according to Wikipedia, they're saying that the statue featured a very large hole on one side because it was cut open by the United States Secret Service to ensure that there were no explosives or assassins inside the statue. I guess they had to check that out. There's not a hole anymore. So if you are wanting to go see that, it's still there. Plains, Georgia. Now you know. All right, here is your question that I'll leave you with for tomorrow. Who was the only single United States president to get married while in the White House? Who does that go to? Do you think it is A, Grover Cleveland, B, William McKinley, C, John Tyler, or D, James Polk? You can take your guess at aroundtheozarks.com. While you're there, check out the forecast because we've got you covered up to the minute all day long, every single day at Around the Ozarks. Thank you so much for listening on this Monday morning. And thank you to our sponsors, Scooters Coffee and Rescue Towing. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Enjoy the warmth later this afternoon, but bundle up if you're heading out first thing this morning. 20s to start, upper 50s to end the day. So it'll end up being pretty nice. I'll catch you again early tomorrow morning.